Welcome to the Accomplish More podcast, created specifically for the small business owner who doesn't think small. I'm your host, Gayla Scrivener. This show is where you'll learn practical ideas, hints, tips, and tricks to help you grow your small business where you can leverage your time and to accomplish more. Welcome to the Accomplish More podcast. I'm Gayla Scrivener.
I'm Sharon Snow.
And today we are going to go right into business planning. Yeah, it seems like, oh man. But a plan is really important in any business, whether you're a very tiny business or a multi-million-dollar business, that a plan is essential. But we work with, and we are small businesses. And when you think business plan, a lot of people do have that sigh, like, oh my gosh, that's such hard work.
No.
And I don't want to do that. I'm not getting a loan. Why should I do that? Well, today we're going to talk about business plans, but it doesn't have to be complicated, and we don't have to formalize it to take it to a bank for a loan. But I think that it's so important for anyone to plan a little bit, because you don't know what direction you're going to go unless you do a little bit of planning.
Correct.
And we talked last week about scheduling. Sitting down a little bit just to plan what your future is, then you have a target to shoot for.
Right.
And who was it? Zig Ziglar, didn't he have a quote that said something about, aim at nothing and you'll hit it at every time?
Right.
So a business plan is super important. You do Young Living, essential oils. And in that business, do you have a plan for that?
I have a very small plan, but I do have a plan because I want it to grow. I'm not in it, for the money, of course. I think it is very beneficial for almost everyone. So my plan is to slowly introduce it to people that are like-minded and for them to implement it into their day, their life, for their whole family.
And so you do want it to grow. It is not your primary source of income.
Correct.
But you want to put effort into it.
Yes.
So when you put a plan and start implementing that plan and thinking about it, it's like, well, this is where I started. And this is where I want to go. It just makes sense.
Right. And it has grown exponentially since I've started, but still slow at my level, at my pace. And the plan I have for it is really just reaching people with the oils, not growing monetarily so much as it can. And I have reaped some good benefits from it, but more of introducing it health-wise for people. So my plan is daily social media stuff, meeting people face-to-face and just talking about how it can help them.
Having conversations and everything, because it's worked for you. And it's just a natural thing to have conversations, but you're also thinking of it as a business because they do have some great tools to help get the word out, and they're a great company.
Yes.
And but when we think of business plans, because I know when I first started Scrivener Solutions, it was just me, kind of freelancing on trying to get clients and everything. But I needed to plan. I jumped in with both feet and out of the corporate world, and my husband Robert and I were putting all of our eggs in one basket, I guess you could say. But it was a sink or swim. We needed to grow our business, and we needed to plan out how were we going to get clients and go for it. I tend to be I'm an organized person. Sometimes I don't feel that way, but as compared to some others, I feel fairly organized, and I do like to plan and plan for the future because it makes me feel secure. But running your business, wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things to consider, and it can be scary, and it's a roller coaster ride. And having a plan to where you can have that target to shoot for.
Mm-hmm.
And today we're going to go over, there's pieces of a formal business plan.
Yeah.
That you can go all over the internet. There's books written, and business plans, in a sense of a term, is these huge documents that are very intimidating.
Right.
And when we are small businesses, we don't necessarily need that huge document because we're not delivering it to a bank to get a loan.
Mm-hmm.
We, even someone that's doing essential oils or freelancing or even starting a cabinet making business or what have you, a little bit of a plan, just simplified, but it forces you to look for the future. And we're just going to go over the different parts of a business plan and what you should consider as a business owner, and jot it down. And honestly, my business plan for Scrivener Solutions is an Excel spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. And I go through the steps because it's not a lengthy report. So we just go through the steps, and sometimes it's no-brainers, like, why am I writing this down? But the actual getting it down on paper, they say that when you actually write down your goals, the chances are that they'll happen. So the first one is business description. And that may be very simple. I mean, but honestly, for Scrivener Solutions, it's kind of changed a little bit.
Right.
But we are a virtual assistant company. We have a team of virtual assistants that help our clients with things behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. But we've changed our business description a little bit because at first I was taking on everything that I knew how to do.
Right.
Now we've specialized with content marketing for our clients and everything like that. With your essential oils, it could be just what would you say your business description is?
Mainly I would think it was how oils can benefit in your home, in your health, and your family.
Mm-hmm. And so it's as simple as essential oil health,
right?
And healthy living. And it might be talking about what your service offerings are. Mm-hmm. What kind, as for virtual assistants, at first, like I said, I was whatever, I had a lot of experience. I have a lot of experience in working in offices of various sizes, and I tend to do very well with databases and implementing systems, and I consult in that way. Mm-hmm. But what our niche became, what I could replicate and help my team members do, is things like social media posts, helping our clients with that, e-newsletters, direct mail newsletters, and correspondence, connecting our clients with their clients,
right,
and staying consistent with that. We don't do bookkeeping, although I know how to do, bookkeeping in QuickBooks. I don't do that.
Yeah.
I manage that for our own company. But I refer to, there's virtual assistants that are specific for bookkeeping, or accounting or what have you. And so I think it's important for everyone, even if it just seems like a no-brainer, put down your business description because it may change. I remember my very, very, very first blog post. I was talking about how a virtual assistant could help in a medical office. Which, looking back on that, I'm like, why would I even write a blog post like that? Because I left the medical industry because I wanted to get into a different industry.
Mm-hmm.
But being in the medical industry for 20 years is kind of secure, and I'm trying to find my way out into the entrepreneurial world and everything like that. But I was willing back then to take a small doctor's office and help them with, because I know how to do medical billing. I probably shouldn't say that, because guys, I do not want to do medical billing. I've been out of it too long. I'm not going back. I've been away from it too long. The rules have changed. But knowing electronic medical records and how a doctor's office works, that was comfortable for me. But I've used those skills for different industries, for other small businesses, and helping them more so with content, putting systems in for content creation, keeping them organized so that they can grow. But my business description was so different from 5 years ago to now, and it helps you focus.
It does.
Writing it down helps.
And that's how it will help you grow. If you see parts of your business description that no longer suit, you can get rid of that and maybe, take it out of your structure and grow in a new direction.
Absolutely. Number 2 on our list is listing out your products and services. And some of that may be a little bit redundant. Like I said, every small business needs to write out their plan, and these are the 7 parts that we're going to talk about, just so that you can get a picture, a realistic picture. And some of it may be jotting down in a notebook. That was my first, and then now it's kind of gotten into Excel spreadsheets. But the product and services for your essential oils. For your essential oils, Young Living has a whole website, and you already know what products they have. And they don't really steer much away.
They have their core, and then they have recently, over the last few years, added a few new things. They have a vitamin supplement line. This summer, they introduced mineral makeup, which is all natural.
Really?
Yeah, it's very cool.
We need to talk.
And it's only if it passes their rigid background, structure, business plan, basically. It has to be from certain areas of the world, and it has to be so pure, which is very cool. I was really into that. But when I joined it, it really was just the oils. They were singles, like just lemon or peppermint, and they have blends, which are several oils all in one bottle, which are, targeted to help digestion or pain relief or something like that. But lately they've added new.
But it still seems to be, they're adding product lines, but it seems to go with their core description.
Yeah.
And for you, it seems to go along with what you believe in,
right?
And
all
how that
living, non-toxic,
and for Scrivener Solutions, we are introducing products. Mainly, we started out only services, and that's not going to change. Our our team of virtual assistants, we help our clients do these content marketing things, saving them time and money, and really help with their efficiencies. So we've got those tasks, those services. I consult and help with my clients with their accountability. I'll give them suggestions. They ask me what systems they can put in place and help break down their, this big project. I have a way of being able to have project management and breaking big things down to littler steps, when, especially for other people, it's easier to do it for other people because you can see, make this good progress and then move on to the second step,
Yeah.
Not so easy to do it for yourself sometimes.
Right. You can't pull yourself back and break it down as easily.
And so we have our virtual assistant services. We list out my coaching. We have classes that we do. We're going to be introducing online courses, our Accomplish More Academy. And we have a few books and resources and things like that. And in my business plan for Scrivener Solutions, I list these things out. And sometimes I list out what I want to do.
Right.
Because this year we did some live classes, and I put in that I wanted online classes. Well, I'm setting that up. It hasn't happened yet, but
it's
will.
written down, so that's now going to be a reality.
It is going to be a reality. Then we go into sales and marketing. The third thing that in a plan is sales and marketing. And it doesn't have to be complicated. I'm going to stress this all throughout this episode. Don't make it harder than it really is, but just it makes you stop and think.
Right.
For your sales and marketing, well, my first year of Scrivener Solutions, I knew that I just needed to meet people. Meet people outside of the medical field, because being in the medical field for 20 years, that's all I knew.
Yeah.
And so I needed to tell people what I was doing and face-to-face networking. So literally on my business plan, I was committing to face-to-face networking. And then I layered in making sure that my website was up. That was the first year. And looking back on it, my website was terrible compared to what it is now. But it got done.
Right.
Had my logo. My marketing plan was pretty much 5 things on bullet pointed that I needed to do. And the main one was face-to-face networking and stay committed to it and being consistent in that. And then that marketing plan has evolved. I still face-to-face network, but I've added other things. And I have incorporated a budget for it. Budget not only of money, but you also have to include budgeting of time.
Right.
And how not to bite off more than you can chew. Because honestly, with marketing, there are so many options. And there's so many free options for us as business owners. Where do you go? Well, you can be on every social network and not be effective at any of them.
And spending all your time.
Exactly. I don't care how great you are at scheduling and you're getting it on 15 different social channels. How do you know if you're effective? Because you're not focused on any one. So I believe in focusing on one and then adding more. And when folks come to us to help them with their social media, sometimes it's like, well, you've done that Facebook class. I guess I better be in Facebook. And I was like, well, is that where your audience is? And sometimes I steer clients on, like, does it really fit for what you're doing? Because we could all day long, I could sell because I know how to.
Right.
Well, you know how to post and schedule because that's what you do. You're our social media. You hold us all accountable for that, for all of our clients and everything. And you schedule social posts. That's what you do. But you can do that all day long in the wrong channel and not be effective.
Not reach your market.
And not reach your audience. And really social media is conversation. And where do you hang out? Where do your clients hang out?
Right, because that's different for different types of businesses.
And so with your marketing strategy, it's good to look at what you've done in the past, or if you haven't started yet, just what have you started? Or if you've just been kind of floating along and like, oh, I don't know, maybe I need to write this down. What are you doing now? what is effective or what do you need to do better at, and then make a commitment. And so the sales and marketing part of your business plan is just showing that picture of what are you committed to and what you'll do in the future. Like this podcast for the Accomplish More podcast is brand new.
Yeah.
It's part of the marketing plan, the marketing schedule.
As we grow.
And layering that in, and how does that fit? And that is in my business plan. But you carve that part out, and then you can make it a little bit more detail, and that's part of your content, your, what other plans, and you can be even more detailed on your marketing plan. Well, then we go into the fourth thing, and that is operations. Operations has to do with the administrative side of your business, how you operate.
How things are going to get done.
And even as simple as where's your office located.
Right. Your hours.
And your hours, and what kind of overhead and other expenses, and you have your legal relationship. Are you just sole proprietor? Did you form an LLC? For Scrivener Solutions, we started out sole proprietor, and maybe right out of the gate, and according to my attorney, absolutely, you should start an LLC, right. Which is true, because having that legal structure, there's a form of protection.
Right.
But in all practicality, you don't. You just go out and do and try to get your first client and get things going and stuff like that. Even with operations on a bank account, I started a business banking account separate from my personal. Yeah. That's part of operations. It can be little things. And for me, what worked is in my operations plan, I knew that, first of all, I was the whole operation chart. The organization chart. I was
secretary,
everything,
administrator. Yeah.
And then little by little, that organizational chart has evolved because I have help now. And that really does help clarify, because when I come around and looking at that organizational chart, then I start to think, is there something else? That if I'm supposed to be doing this, is there something else that we can put in and, delegate? And that's very helpful. And I'm sure for your Young Living, I mean, you're doing it you yourself.
I am all by myself. But learning the skills with Scrivener Solution, I have learned to budget my time separately for it. For marketing, I just carve out a little time once a week, do my marketing for it.
And so in your marketing plan, you say that you're going to do this many Facebook posts in a week.
Yep.
And you're going to do this every week for the next year. That's your promise to yourself.
Correct.
That's basically it. But in operations, then you put your marketing hat on, and you've carved that time out, and you are the marketing director.
Right.
So that's how you get it done. And you probably have things about how, where do you do this? Well, it's simple. It's at your home, or
correct. Anywhere I am, wherever I have internet.
Exactly. And it's kind of hard nowadays to say, well, I'm going to do this from wherever. But, Robert and I had created our business to fulfill our dream of a work from anywhere lifestyle. And that still takes a challenge, because when I look at that in my business plan, I can stray from it, because there are some things in my marketing or some things in my tendency that I don't know if you know this, I was considering a space, paying for an office space.
No, I didn't know.
And I was thinking, okay, I would be able to accomplish more if I did that and have that overhead expense, really. Well, then I looked back at my plan and my operations. Like, what's important is to have this work from anywhere.
Right.
And I needed to make the processes be better to have my office work from anywhere. And if my office is at a library sometimes, great.
Yeah.
When we're traveling and we need to block off 2 days of just sitting still and working, that's what I want. And that needs to be clarified, because this business plan helps you when you stray, because everyday stresses come up.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you may lose your way, and then you need to go back to your why, and your business plan helps you.
Yeah. Keep you focused.
Yeah. The next step, we've gone through 4, your business description, your products, services, your sales and marketing, your operations, and now your management team. And that may be just you.
Right.
But there may be some people that you don't have on payroll, or you don't have on, they're your closest friends. They help you hold you accountable. And those should be on your management team. Who is it? Did you hire a coach? That's part of your management team. That helps you stay focused. And I think that that's very important. And so that could be, especially small businesses, you don't have
your spouse.
Yeah, your spouse, and kind of putting what their role may be in that, and how they help you get to your goal. And if there needs to be changes there.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there may be, and planning for the future on that. Number 6 is development. Development is kind of a dream section. Where do you want to be in 5 years? And start dreaming. And where do you see that? And that's where, if you envision your business and how it should run and the size of it and what your revenue is and just your dreams, put that down.
Okay.
I think that's important to do, because number 7 is probably the hardest one to do. It's your financial summary.
Yeah.
And that is the stuff that the banks really want to see, your bottom line and your expenses and your revenue and all of that. But for your purposes, and a lot of us that just start out, we hate to look at our financials, because it's like, man,
what financials?
There's no income coming in. Man, I'd have to look at this.
How do you devise a plan when it's like that, when you're just starting out?
When you're just starting out, just kind of forecast or make a goal of what kind of income you want. Even make it reasonable. If you have been in business a few years, put your financial statement in there and force yourself to look at it. What were you averaging? Where do you want to be next year? But if you're very first starting out and you have like big fat zeros everywhere, you need to start filling in and just making a plan, making it reasonable too. Like with your Young Living, if that's not going to be your primary income, but you do want to see some sort of residual, then make some reasonable plans. And what expenses would come out of that? And it may be so simple that you may say, well, I want this amount every month, roughly, to come in. This is what my expenses would be, which may not be much at all. So that's very easy. As Scrivener Solutions, when I first kind of started, it's like, okay, I'll just put in, I need to figure out how many clients to get this type of revenue.
Right.
And then what are my recurring expenses and things like that. And then what we'll do is track things. We'll track things, even though it may look terrible, track it.
Yeah.
And because then you'll know what to plan for the future. Now, being 5 years in with Scrivener Solutions, we look at the financials, and I don't know where to go if I haven't known where I've been.
Exactly.
And it makes me look at, it kind of makes me feel good. I'm growing every year.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
Yay.
But at first it's like, I don't even want to look at that. I don't even want to track that.
Yeah.
Every business owner really needs to track that other than a shoebox.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
And what I do for all of these steps, I mean, there's these 7 things that may sound a lot, and I'm going to go over them again. So listeners, I encourage you to take, we're in the last quarter of the year. It's time for planning for next year. You've got plenty of time, but you've got your business description, your products and services, your sales and marketing, operations, your management team, your development, your dreams, and your financial summary. Take time to think about that. Get out of your regular schedule and get it written down.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, I mean, because we're all human here, what I do is hold on to an accountability partner.
Yes.
And so I have Arlene in our office,
Mm-hmm.
and I've tasked her this is important to me, so I want to make sure it's done.
So she keeps you on track.
She does. And it is about time for our yearly meeting to really talk about this. But what she does is open up the Excel document, and she'll make updates to it because we talk all the time. I mean, she knows me well. and so then she'll update it, and she's like, we have our meeting next Wednesday, and we're going to talk about this. And sometimes, and I'll be honest, sometimes like, I don't know, I don't feel like it. I just don't feel like it.
Don't go in there.
But it is important. It is so important to do that and I'm so glad that I do, because when we talk about that and then I clarify some things and then I am forced to talk it out loud to say, no, that's not what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Or, man, I didn't get there. But we pull this out more often than once a year.
Good.
And we look at it, or if something happens, like what may seem like an opportunity that totally strays from this business plan, which is just our goals for the business, what our goals are, and it totally strays, then I know exactly what I need to do to get back on track, or really evaluate to say, all right, it is time to make a big shift for our company.
To grow in a new direction.
In a new direction. Or, because things do happen. But having it written down, I think is I'm very proud that I've been able to grow. And I don't think I could have done that if I was just keeping it all in my head.
Yeah.
And if I did not talk it out and did not put it up to one of my highest priorities to make sure it happens.
Right.
And implementing a process. Knowing me, we as business owners need to really know ourselves. Knowing that I would put it off and not do it myself, I asked somebody to hold me accountable, to at least talk about it at a minimum once a year.
Awesome.
So, do you have anything else to add about business planning?
I think you covered it all. At least the basics to get everyone started.
And like I said, I cannot express enough. Keep it simple.
Right.
What is that acronym? The K.I.S.S method. Keep it simple, silly. I'm going to say keep it simple, silly. But it's true. And it does not have to be complicated. If you're not going to go get money from a bank,
really keep it
just
simple.
keep it simple. When you grow your business, that you do have to ask for a loan, you've got your outline.
Right.
Then you can get your resources from folks like SCORE, which is a volunteer organization, a nonprofit organization that mentors business owners, and they can help you formalize and make a presentation to the bank. So don't think small. Just because we're small business owners does not mean we have to think small.
Right.
Start your processes early. So, well, I hope everybody has enjoyed today's episode of the Accomplish More podcast. I'd love to hear from you. If you would, actually, why don't you hop online? We like to be social.
Very social.
We are on Facebook under Scrivener Solutions, and that's SCRIVENER. You can get us on our website. There's all the links for the social links, but if you're a Facebook person, please like our Facebook page. We'd love to hear from you. And we're also on Twitter and LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. But if you enjoyed the show, we really encourage you to subscribe. And thanks for listening. And until next time, have a fantastic week.